What is going on, guys? Episode 30 of the Main Stand podcast. Mitchell here with Josh and Pat. We had a huge week in both content and football matches. A lot has happened, especially in the last couple of days. We have a lot to talk about, so let's tuck right in. You want to talk about how drunk Pat got this past weekend?
I I plead the fifth. If you follow us on Instagram, you know how drunk I was this weekend.
He was incredibly intoxicated. Was supposed to come back to Maine with me. Ended up staying in Massachusetts. So we left Pat stranded at Gillette Stadium, just ripped out of the parking lot, Justin and I.
Uh, I'm gonna just keep it a stack with the fans and with all of my friends and loved ones. Don't remember leaving Gillette Stadium.
He also didn't remember how much beer he spilled on a 14-year-old celebrating her birthday.
I didn't. I did not spill. Okay, I did, but I didn't spill that much beer on the 14-year-old. It was a little.
It was enough to have her dad get visibly frustrated and talked off of a slight ledge.
What's he gonna do?
He was bigger
Probably
than you, Patrick.
beat the shit out of me, but that's fine. She was in the splash zone, bro. I was double fisted Michelob Ultras. What do you want me to do?
Thought Gustavo Bo scored the penalty.
You were
No, I
rocking
didn't.
the
I said
aluminum
Gil.
cans too, which you got to respect.
No, we had to stop recording the first one because you said Gustavo Bo La Pantera with the penalty. we had to do it.
He won the penalty.
No, no, no.
All right, well, it's a good thing Mitch was on content then.
We have video evidence that Keel won the penalty and scored the penalty. It was a good game, technically honest, from a sober point of view here. The Revs played their game. They really just were able to control home field, and it was a 1-0 game when it was all said and done. Earl Edwards had a few great saves, which we can talk about the Concacaf Champions League in a little bit. But no, the Revs are looking good to start the year. Josie Altidor's gotten a few pretty late game stints, but he's provided some pretty big impact in his time played. Leggett has been immense, and Carlos Heel has been doing his job as well. So, no, it was a really fun game. We had a group of 12 of us. So thanks for all the new soccer fans that were there too. It was a lot of fun. They actually were genuinely interested in what was going on, asking questions throughout the game. So we grilled, we chilled, we had a good time, and 2 of the 3 of us made it back to Maine that night.
I got back the next day. It was fine. I did wake up with, like, you know how I close out of all my apps normally, yes. Mitchell, like, you know me as a person.
You're very anal about it, yes.
So I woke up and I'm closing out all my apps from the previous night, and Uber was open, and I had a ride from Foxborough to Portland, like, loaded into my Uber. It was like $200 fucking. I didn't buy it, but I was like,
why did that cross
your? To expense why did that to the Citigroup?
Wow. That would have been
I'll just put it on the Main Stand company card. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tax write-off.
Yeah, you donated to me. Yeah, but in more sobering news, Josh, why don't you tell us about the United game?
I wasn't quite as drunk as Pat. I think I was getting there. The wetness kind of settled me down in between games. I went early in the morning and watched the Liverpool game at Britt's Pub in Minneapolis. That was a good time, and I do have show and tell. Shout out to official supporter club Minneapolis of the sick Minicop scarf in the old candy font.
That's cool.
That's cool. It's a good one.
And then the back of it has all of the results from our title-winning season. So
that's a good scarf.
Yeah, it's a good scarf.
That's really sick.
Nice little present. But yeah, it was good to watch the Liverpool West Ham game there. Quite a bit of people showed up. I'd say probably 30, 40 people watching the game. that was a good way to start the morning. Kind of a snatch and grab win. That it wasn't the best performance from Liverpool by any means, but Trent gets another assist, Mane with the goal, and we leave with 3 points, which is all that matters. Then we headed over to the Allianz after a little bit of walking around. Knew the weather wasn't going to be great, but the weather just kind of proceeded to get worse and worse as the match got closer to kickoff. We're talking freezing rain, sleet, all that. The Allianz still managed to fill up pretty quickly. It was full by the time the game was ready to go. We had a sick Lizzo tifo before the match. That was pretty sick, and you can see me kind of in the pictures. I'm right above kind of the top of the tifo there. I thought the atmosphere for the Minnesota game was just unreal. We have some of the best fans in the MLS, in my opinion. Our team isn't quite there, and we knew that. Adrian Heath is still the coach. We just don't quite have the tactics compared to other MLS teams. Also, we're without Roman Metnair, so we're kind of without a left back right now. We have Bakai Debasi playing there. He had an all right second half. I thought he was pretty poor in the first half, but we gave up a really early goal to Nashville, and it was kind of hard to work our way back. I actually ended up leaving at halftime just because of the weather. We had to drive back down to Rochester, which is about an hour 20 drive. So we needed to get on the road before it got too icy. So I missed the Hassani Dotson equalizer in the second half, but we did manage to leave with a point, which probably is a disappointing result for the home opener. But it was a great time, and most importantly, when the weather delay happened right into the second half, down in the concourse was like one of the most electric vibes I think I've been on, where it was like 20 minutes of like the video I posted, the 30-second clip. Whoever's commenting on the Instagram, like literally fuck off about it not being a good vibe or whatever. I hate those people that like gatekeep what is good.
It's all relative. Like
yeah.
it's obviously not a Premier League match that you're at, or like it's a different culture, and I think it's changing slowly but surely. Definitely noticing it in some of these newer cities and newer teams where there's this just die-hard nature, and the smaller soccer specific stadiums in particular, like you are getting those smaller but fierce fans that are coming out and making those experiences what they are.
Yeah.
Shout out Charlotte FC for selling out their first home game, though. That's crazy.
And also fuck the people that were comparing that to Gillette Stadium's home opener and the comparison there. Like, you can't compare a brand new franchise like on the end of it's on the end of the spectrum as like a novelty. Like, there's a lot of build up, there's a lot of hype that goes into a new franchise, and a lot of marketing. It's a big push. It's also right in the heart of the biggest city in the state. And then we have Gillette, 26, 27-year-old franchise, 45 minutes outside of downtown Boston. Like, different climates, different situations entirely. There's no excuse. Like, obviously I want to see Gillette Stadium full, but they're never going to fill that stadium up for a New England Revolution game.
I had one more point too, not to make this completely about me. I don't think a lot of people realize that the beginning of that clip I shared, everyone is like on the ground basically, and everyone stands up at the end, like when it gets to the LA part. So that pissed me off. But it was awesome. It was like 20 minutes of that straight during the weather delay, and that's when we left kind of after the drumming and singing died down a bit. But it was a good experience. I'm going back. There's another game in 9 days. I'll probably like just buy tickets for randomly, and then going back for the Chicago game on the 23rd of April. So won't be our last trip to the Allianz before I probably head back out to Maine, but we'll see. I think we have to start planning a trip to Gillette Stadium for when the Revs play Minnesota at Gillette.
Well, Mitch and I are considering becoming season ticket holders for the Revolution this year, so
we might have to figure that out.
Yeah, well, they do have an exchange program, which is, I think, going to be the seller, where, like, if you can't go to a game, say, like, a weekday game, you can exchange that ticket for an extra ticket to a future game. So, like, we could use that to a later season game to bring other people, so we could have that definitely situated. But I'm sure you'd want to go sit with your crew on the other end of the stadium, like in that one section that they get in the corner of the end zone.
Now we'll put Josh in his Minnesota United kit in the fort.
I actually think it's pretty cool. So like Sun Country's big out here. I think Sun Country's chartering flights for away supporters this year for Minnesota United, which is pretty dope. There was actually a decent amount of people that went to Philly.
That's pretty cool. That is cool. I guess the last thing on the weekend recap is I get to make this all about myself for a little bit here. Fellas, you wanna tell me what color Manchester is real quick?
It's definitely not red.
Manchester is blue.
It's not red.
Folks, God, that was such a fun game. City are just showing how big the golfing class is between those two sides right now. I get it. United had their fun in the past. Sir Alex Ferguson, they ran shit. They had their banners up in the stadium about, mind the gap, all that stuff. Sir Alex Ferguson said never in his lifetime. Will City be better than Man United? It's been almost 10 years, Sir Alex, and we're definitely better than United. So I had some fun this weekend. I had a lot of fun this weekend. De Bruyne definitely finding his feet again, proving that anybody who ever compared him to that little fucking rat Bruno was just wrong. Grealish played his best game in a City shirt by far over the weekend. So that was really, really good to see. And Phil Foden bodied Wan-Bissaka. Up the Blues. Josh, I can't believe you said that was going to be a bogey game.
I mean, you couldn't believe it when I said it about Tottenham, too, and it happened. It wasn't the most crazy, outlandish prediction, but you did wallop them, so I got to give credit where credit's due.
Honestly, Harry Maguire, player of the game for City.
That looked like he dummied that ball, the one that went through his leg.
It was so the dummy. Funny. It was the offensive play of the century. Like, he didn't even I was sitting there in shock that is how he chose to play that ball. In utter shock that this man just dummied this ball in front of goal instead of poking it out for a corner, making a simple play on it. Turned his back to it and played it through.
He sucks. I'm not going to complain. Thanks for the goal, bro.
Laid on the graphic, not a logistics company. Don't blame me if you're watching the YouTube.
I blame you.
Love you, Kev. Beautiful ginger motherfucker. That's my man of the match right there.
The human stamina bar.
That's facts. You can tell when he needs to get subbed off. He's turning red. Yeah, it was a good weekend to be a blue. Well, it was a good weekend to be one shade of blue.
Bad match from Scott McTominay as well. I thought he was probably one of the worst players on the pitch for United.
Looked lost.
He was abysmal. Lost, man. He's not a top Premier League player. I could see him at maybe a lower, Prem side, but I don't see why United just keep playing him over and over. And the other big news too that we didn't really touch on was Ronaldo being left out of the squad. There's a lot of talk about what that was about.
Apparently injury.
Yep.
Apparently.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But then we get the what is it, sister?
Liking
the post that it wasn't, and I don't know. I think that's a stretch. I think Ronaldo is still the type of player who would still get up for a derby game. And if he can't, he's obviously got something lingering, whether it be his attitude or not. I don't think it's like a LeBron James situation, sitting out a game, or any other NBA superstar. I don't think it's like a situation like that. I do think there's probably something lingering going on, especially at this point in the season and his age.
Do you think it could be Ralph trying to prove a point to the board that it's not him, it's not Ronaldo? That's the issue.
Well, I mean, I think that they're a better side without Ronaldo on the pitch. I don't think they do any better that game with Ronaldo versus without Ronaldo. With Ronaldo, they're pressing less, and that's the biggest way to beat City is press them. That's the best way to beat any big team that holds the ball is press them, and Ronaldo's not doing any of that.
And
if he's in the
Ronaldo
side.
on the pitch, they know where they're trying to filter the ball to.
Yeah, he's a constant goal scoring threat, but he's not the same Ronaldo from like 2014 or 2015. He doesn't even look like the same Ronaldo that was winning Golden Boots in Italy. I mean, he scores goals because he's Ronaldo, but he just doesn't have that same like air about him anymore. It's felt that way since the minute he stopped scoring, when he started hot this Premier League season. The minute he stopped scoring, he just like completely lost that like Ronaldo effect, that like Ronaldo level swagger that he has whenever he steps on the field. He just like plummeted, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was kind of after the Liverpool game. Like after that defeat, it was kind of like when he stopped his.
Yeah, because he didn't score again until it was at least a month later. So yeah, I don't know. I just think United's stuck. I think it's a players' problem, not a coaching problem. I mean, obviously there's issues with like the ownership and the board and everything. I think that club is just a disaster. And
somehow still not the biggest disaster in the league, though.
Yeah, but this other one is just we can tuck into the shittier blue side here. So for those of you who don't know, Roman Abramovich recently, gave ownership of Chelsea away, and today it came out that all of his assets are frozen. So Chelsea, one of his assets, they cannot make signings, they cannot re-sign players. The only people that can go to games moving forward for Chelsea at home are season ticket holders
and people who have already purchased tickets.
Yeah, and then their shirt sponsors have also said, been asked to be removed from the shirts, and they're even as far as like their club shop closing. They can't sell kits or anything like that. It's tough. I mean, I get
they can serve
why
food.
it's I mean, at the end of the day, I get why it's happening. I understand the politics that surround Roman Abramovich and Russia. But it's like really tough on the fans, man. I think you're allowed to banter about it a little bit, but I don't really like seeing any group of fans like have to deal with this. Like if it's going to be one club in recent history, a lot of people are probably like, yeah, I'm glad it's Chelsea. But I don't know, man. I think it just kind of sucks to see. I think it's like super unfair for the fans and just like anybody who just kind of works for the club in general. They can't really control who owns their club and what their owner does outside of, that environment. And I imagine that it's just like a kind of a tough time to be a Chelsea fan.
The only people I feel sorry for really are the people who like work at the club shop and depend on it in that way. And any other people who, depend on the club who's being affected right now. But the Chelsea fans really don't have much to be sad about. It's not like they're going down in the Premier League. And I get it to a point of like what's happening to them isn't funny, but I also don't feel the need to like kiss, Chelsea's ass. Especially when they're the ones, saying right now, like telling the government we'll remember this and, how unfair it is when they banter Liverpool about it for, the past 20 years. So I feel really like I just don't really feel bad for them. It's like, okay, so you can't buy players for one summer when you've been funded by, bad people for 20 years. I don't really see the reason to feel too bad for them. I mean, look who they've gone out and bought in the past couple of years. I don't think they're really going to be affected by it that much. Hopefully, like I said, daily employees, stuff like that, hopefully they're not affected. But, the people talking about fans having to go through it and stuff, what are they actually going through that, regular Premier League fans don't go through on a weekly basis?
Well, I just think the fact that it could spiral into more stuff is unfortunate to see. Like, I get it. I'm not going to be kissing any ass either, but I'm not going to like kick them when they're down. I'm just going to let it exist and be like, that I would not be super happy if my club was going through that kind of stuff. I guess that's really all I'm trying to say is it's an unfortunate situation.
I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah, no, and from working in sports and just like on a much smaller scale, just like knowing, like for example, when COVID hit and all the uncertainty surrounding a sports franchise, the mental strain and work that goes into keeping something afloat when you're not having that revenue source come in, you're not having your full operation up and running. It's a load, and I think this decision, however political it is hurting. At the end of the day, Chelsea is a business and a sports organization, and it hurts them as a whole. And I think the financial losses, the devaluing of the asset and freezing it, not allowing new business to come in, puts a strain on a lot of people. And maybe there are those once or twice a year fans because that's all they can afford. They've been saving up money working, and they haven't bought tickets to the match that they were planning on. Like there's a lot more smaller nuances to it than I think people realize. And it's gonna be under the spectacle, and I think we'll notice a change as soon as things clear up on the bigger landscape. But it's gonna take some time, and it's just unfortunate from a fan perspective to see somebody else going through it.
Yeah,
I think it's unfortunate right now. I think they will get sold though. It's like they're not gonna freeze them
eventually,
up forever.
but there is that loophole of giving it over to the government to sell it,
Yep.
and that's the only way to do it. And if it kind of feels like if you're looking at it like a video game or like something that's just something you'd think of only happens in movies, it feels like Chelsea's a poker chip now.
Yeah, I guess where I'm coming from in all this, and I totally agree with your guys' points. I don't want to come across as like, a dickhead here.
Yeah, no.
Chelsea weren't always Chelsea like 20 years ago. Like they were at this point right now, and I feel like it's almost like a greed thing of like, oh, like you're not gonna get like $100 million every transfer window or something like that if they did get sold or whatever happens with the team. And it's like I think people are dramatizing it a little bit in terms of like the effects on the fans and stuff. Because I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just the way I'm seeing it, but
Yeah, and all we can do is wait and see how it plays out. Obviously, it didn't falter them too much playing against Norwich today. But it's going to be something we're going to be talking about for some time because it's something we haven't experienced yet. The government shutting the assets of an individual and it affecting a whole hell of a lot more people than just that individual is, I think, the point that is getting people kind of riled up.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it kind of all ends up playing itself out. But I think we've said our piece on Chelsea. Josh, you've always been a dickhead, so it's fine.
I have a particular gripe with Chelsea, and everyone I think that follows me and is friends with me knows that. Besides Bass, of course, and a handful of select fans.
Bass
he's
is
like me,
my favorite Chelsea
New
fan.
England Patriots fan. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I hope the daily employees and people that do depend on the club, have their situations sorted. But football isn't all about money, and a new owner will come in, and I think everything will sort out in the end. Obviously, risky times right now, but like Pat said, I think we all said our piece.
Exactly. And Mitchell's internet died, so we're back. Mitch,
now I'm in the
welcome
middle.
Back. So as we were talking about before the ad break, the Concacaf Champions League is going on right now. And the New England Revolution and the Seattle Sounders look like they're probably going to the semifinals right about, I don't know. What do you think, Mitch?
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the New York and Seattle games, but they both had a similar result to the Revolution. New York scoring 3-1 in their first leg matchup. and the Sounders winning 3-0. Both pretty convincing victories. I believe they were both at home, and the next leg is played south of the border in their respective locations. I watched the Revs game last night. The Carlos Heel and Sebastian Lletget link up is phenomenal. It's been so
Silky.
good.
Silky.
The Revs looked so fucking good moving forward last night. Just confident on the ball, making crisp passes. It looked like the system was starting to get where Bruce wants it with these veteran additions to the squad. Like I said earlier, Josie hasn't gotten many big leg stints. He's probably played a total of about 60 minutes at this point in all competitions. And last night, people were kind of giving him some flack for his performance, but I didn't see any issue with it. He was coming on to help spread out play, played a lot on the wing, and was able to open up space and pass leading into the Buxa goal. So it was a good performance from Josie as well. Buxa with 2 goals last night. Um, Gustavo Bo looked threatening all night as well, making some really good shots on target. I think people are being a little too critical, but the job's not done, but it feels good going down to Pumas 3-0 up.
The MLS MVP was doing MLS MVP things.
He's the best player on the pitch last night.
Absolutely. I think I mean, I get Lorenzo Insigne is going to be Lorenzo Insigne when he comes to the MLS, but it feels like Carlos Gil is, in my opinion, the best player in the MLS right now.
Yeah, for sure. He's picked up where he left off last season. He's playing whatever game he wants for 90 minutes in the midfield, running the system from the middle, and it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a really confident player on the ball. He has like all the best pieces of like the OG midfielders that we saw when we were in high school. It's like the best pieces of Diego, the best pieces of Lee Win. You've got flashes of Jermaine Jones and his defensive ability.
Don't talk about MV Lee like that, all right? He was robbed. He was robbed that year. Dude. He was the MVP. I don't care what anybody says.
Lee Win is one of my favorite Revolution players ever, and I don't think anybody can deny that. He's up there, right? And Carlos Heel is just so much of that and more, and he fits so well. And I'm so glad we've been able to build this team around him. We have 2 young wing backs, Bai and Jones, who are playing a very, very great game offensively as well, opening up space for our midfielders to get up and apply pressure. It's just a lot of fun to watch. It's an inspiring ball that Bruce has been putting together.
The Revs are dope. Go New England. All right, we can go to the other Champions League now, the less prestigious one.
Exactly.
The UEFA Champions League. Before you guys have your say on this game, I just want to say I thought Inter played all right over those 2 legs. I think they had a very set in stone game plan, which was
it was whine like little bitches.
Please don't score 30 goals on us. We're just going to try to beat you on the counter. And I think Alexis Sanchez was unfortunate to get sent off. I really do. I think
I will agree
that
with you.
Was probably a yellow card, regardless of, the I didn't see his first tackle. I started watching it like the 60th minute. I actually tuned in Liverpool. I turned the game on, and Alexis Sanchez got sent off. So I'm sorry, Inter Milan fans. It was my fault.
The first one I thought was good enough for a red.
I didn't see that. So if he shouldn't have been on the pitch, he shouldn't have been on the pitch. But I think getting a second yellow in the manner that he did, that was a little unfortunate. I mean, he won the ball. I get it. Like, he followed through and he hit the player, but like, where the fuck is he supposed to go?
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but like, I get it. Studs were up too, and he left a lot on him. So it's a fair yellow card. I just think it was a little unfortunate. And then after that, Liverpool just took over the game. But I thought that Inter had a game plan, and if they come out of the San Siro, if they don't concede that second goal in the San Siro, it's a completely different ballpark going into Anfield that they had a game plan. They executed it pretty well, and they made life really, really hard for Liverpool. Despite losing the tie 2-1, they're the first team to beat Liverpool at Anfield since Van Dijk's been there.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
The last time we lost at Anfield was to Everton last year in the Premier League. But it took a Lautaro Martinez wonder strike to, even get a goal on us. And I kind of went into this one saying, I wasn't really sure what there was to be scared of in terms of Inter Milan. I mentioned Martinez specifically. I'm still not really that scared of him. I mean, it literally was a wonder strike. It couldn't have been more well hit. But Inter just didn't really look threatening for most of that game. It was a 1-0 loss, but you don't really feel it, on the day because they advanced to the final 8. So it is what it is. In terms of that, I thought it was a decent game from us. We move on, which is the most important thing. And the Inter Milan fans and the rest of rival Premier League fans saying that Liverpool were outcoached and outplayed are just insane people.
I think that's XG, incorrect.
Yeah, it speaks for itself. We hit the post 3 times too. I mean, Salah hit the post twice. Matip hit the crossbar. Liverpool easily could have won that. 3-1, 2-1, and then no one's talking about it. So
the ball just didn't fall our way that day.
Yeah. I thought Skriniar had sorry to cut you off, Mitch. I thought Skriniar had an amazing game for Inter. In that second leg, he was my man of the match. All things considered, I thought he was really good.
I think Arturo Vidal had a really great game. I think he had a new record, 47 chats with the ref. Dude,
Vidal's always been a douchebag.
It's the thing that frustrated me the most was how the players play into this woe is me, and it was they were stretching for it for all 90 minutes.
After Sanchez got sent off, dude, it was bad. They were trying to get every goal.
It just takes away from working and playing your game. It's just not fun to watch, and I commend them for winning that game. They earned it fair and square. That goal was unbelievable. But
what do you make of the Liverpool fans on Twitter, Mitch?
In terms of
after the game, I think after this game was probably the worst of the season in terms of the complaining about the team, offensive efficiency, and of course the noise at Anfield, and the top red situation brought back up again.
Yeah, I think it's typical. It's typical at this point where if we lose a game or if it's not running as well as everybody idolizes it and thinks of it how it's going to be in their minds before kickoff even happens, like it takes away from your ability to actually enjoy what we're seeing. At the end of the day, we're on to the next round. We got the job done. We've been historically bad at playing against teams that go down to 10 men over the last couple of seasons, and we just didn't have the ball bounce our way. I don't think it takes away from what we did. We controlled the match still for all 90 minutes. We had more shots on target that were just off target. You know what I mean? It's like it's the same conversation the other way around in the first leg when Inter were threatening. They hit the crossbar a couple of times. The ball just didn't fall our way, and it didn't take away from what we were doing, and I think it's just going to fuel them more going forward because none of those guys want to drop points again. None of those guys want to lose a game 1-0, especially at home after that long streak. But I think it starts grinding the wheels again for the guys in the first team.
Well, get ready to drop points again because you're losing in April.
Nah,
no chance.
Not happening.
Yeah, we'll see about that. It was the last time. Remember the last time you had to win a game at the Etihad. Remember what happened there?
Yeah.
Speaking of getting your ass kicked, Bayern beat Salzburg 7-1.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about this game. I don't really want to talk about it. Bayern did Bayern things. Remember when we said Bayern are going to get the job done at home? Bayern got the job done at home. Moving on.
Yeah.
Talking Bayern.
And here's talking Man City. They started a 17-year-old at right back and a 90-year-old at center mid. They subbed on fucking Scott Carson in the 60th minute. We still won the tie 5-0. I fucking love Scott.
On the first save.
Scott Carson has a Champions League clean sheet now. He's 100% clean sheet record in the Champions League, and that's
true.
You can't say anything other than that about Scott Carson. He's the best goalkeeper. He's the best player on the planet, honestly.
I think we can move right on to the match everyone wants to talk about.
Yeah, the good one.
Real Madrid PSG, that one ended 3-2 on aggregate in favor of Madrid, thanks to a Benzema second half hattie. Messi couldn't get the job done.
Well, PSG couldn't get the job done.
I'm pinning it on Messi.
Grip. Yeah, as you would, as one does, as you should.
If he made his penalty in the first leg, they might have had a chance.
I mean, Benzema still scored 3, so
would have been tied on aggregate though. If Messi, converts that penalty, I think you got to look at Messi first in the dressing room here. He's the experienced one.
I don't know.
The greatest of all time, as many say. Listen,
pal. If Neymar scores the 4 chances he got in the first half, it's a totally different game. If PSG have 4 competent defenders, it's a completely different game. If Marquinhos doesn't assist Benzema twice, it's a completely different game. I think I would rather praise the mentality of Real Madrid than, well, okay, we can shit on PSG's defense because they were fucking abysmal. But I think the mentality of Real Madrid, really, really got them forward, up for this game. I thought Vinicius was class all day, but give Benzema his goddamn flowers. He's the most underrated player of this generation.
Luka Modric was unreal too. I thought he had
they both were
game.
Amazing. Yeah, Real Madrid came out in the second half with a point to prove, and it was unbelievable. They were so good.
The banter in the Bandstand group chat was just unreal. We were literally talking about PSG, the Barcelona choke session, a handful of years ago, and it unfolded right in front of us. It was kind of unreal.
The speed at which those the last 2 goals happened were unreal. They equalized, and then immediately Benzema scored again.
Yeah,
I think, and then I think having Clive Tildesley commentating it brought it all together.
Oh, it was awesome. That game.
It's literally going to be up there with Champions League moments. It really is. Just the storyline of the 2 legs. It having involved Messi now the second time choking, and
the second time. That's more than the second time.
Well, in recent memory here, you know what I mean.
It was Roma 3 years ago, and then there was Liverpool, and then they lost to City last year, and then they choked this year. It's been rough going for Lionel Messi teams.
What can we say? Divock Origi broke the man. He was mashed on Merseyside, and he's never recovered. I do want to say about this game, I did have something to say on this game, and it slipped my mind in the past 5 seconds.
He's just forgetting it now.
No, we'll switch gears. I think when you kind of look at blame in this PSG team, this is what I was going to say initially, and I'll get back to my point here. The second point being Pochettino and his kind of role, involvement in all this. My first point is that this game goes to show that oil cannot buy Champions League trophies. It takes a special team to win a knockout tournament like this, and Pat knows that quite well.
Oil got pretty close last year, and it technically Oil won no matter what last year.
Yeah, yes, you are right. Fair play. But
I do agree. I think the point you actually wrote in the notes, instead of taking a dig at me, that individual talent does not win Champions Leagues. It doesn't always guarantee you success at the team level. It takes a legitimate group. Real Madrid are definitely a group, and they're a team, and they have that Champions League aura around them too. So yeah, and also to your Pochettino point, all I'm gonna say is you can take Poch out of Tottenham, but you can't take the Tottenham out of Poch.
It's fair. Yeah, at this point, though, he has coached. I read through the list a couple. It was Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Kane, Son, and doesn't really have a trophy yet. So, coached some players at Southampton as well.
I mean, I think somebody on my timeline had a really good tweet about PSG, and it was PSG are just Tottenham, but they went to private school.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They have the money. I mean, they came pretty close when they lost to Bayern in the final, and then they lost to City the previous year. I think PSG will end up getting a Champions League, but I think it's going to take the right coach. I mean, I said it at the start. Oh God, man! I think for a team to win their first ever Champions League, there kind of has to be this like perfect storm. I mean, you look at Chelsea; it was like the only thing that they had going for them that season, and then when they beat Barcelona in the fashion that they did, it just felt like inevitable, even though they went down 1-0 to Bayern. There was just that there's like this aura around a club when they win a Champions League, like the year Liverpool in the Champions League after like losing to Madrid in that final and then just like tearing through the Champions League that whole year. It's just like, yeah, Liverpool are winning the Champions League this year. Like there's no doubt about it. Or like when Madrid were on that run, or it was like win the Champions League, win the Champions League, win the Champions League. Like after they like halfway through the campaign in that second one, you knew they were winning it. And then going into the three-peat, it was like Madrid are going to three-peat. Like anybody who thinks Madrid is not about to win their third Champions League is insane. So there's just this perfect storm that kind of needs to happen for a team to win a like I mentioned, just to win a Champions League in general. But to win your first Champions League, like a lot has to go correct. Like they need a manager that knows how to do it. I don't think they're gonna win one with Messi at the club. I really don't. I think Messi's Messi is using PSG like most people use the MLS. He's using it like how David Beckham used PSG.
Pat.
He's like too good to retire there. I was gonna just keep going and then.
Oh, okay, fair.
Let Mitch file in here.
Fair enough.
We're 0 for 2.
We'll we're not a logistics company. We'll keep it rolling here. Why not?
Yeah, but perfect storm. But yeah, I think Poch probably should go. I don't think he's the guy to really lead PSG. I mean,
fair enough.
He bottled the league for the first time in forever. He bottled the Coupe de League. He bottled a bunch of. Not a bunch, but like a couple of domestic French trophies that like PSG like just should sweep up with the team that they have. So yeah, he's a bottle artist.
I just don't.
Sorry, boys.
No, you're good. We're still going. I just don't see the roadmap for PSG ever winning a Champions League because Mbappe's going to leave. I think that's pretty set in stone right now. They've always just been that posh, kind of soft, fancy club. Ronaldinho, Ibrahimovic, Beckham, really, really big names always, but it never really accumulates to anything. I think that's kind of the club they'll always be. They're the club that has the awesome brand and fan base, but I don't think they're ever at winning Champions League level. They have a lot of really
too much talent.
Yeah.
It just feels like too much talent goes through that team for them to never win one, though. Like, it'll happen.
It'll happen. I don't think in the near future.
No, I think 5-6 years, maybe.
It would have to be 5 years out, I think, for me at this point.
Yeah, I think they've still got a long ways to go.
Is it just one of those super teams that just isn't working out?
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, Neymar and Messi were a great duo when Messi was like in his late 20s, early 30s, and Neymar was like widely regarded as the third best player in the world, but like Neymar can't stay fit. Messi is a completely different player, right. And the team is built around Mbappe now. And as great as Mbappe is, he doesn't. It's like crazy to say this, but like, hear me out. he's not a player that's going to win you a game completely on his own, if that makes sense. Like, he's got the quality to put you in a really good spot, but I don't know.
He's like the last stone in the Infinity Gauntlet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just like the last piece that you need to fit in that like one specific side needs, because he has that quality, he has the pace, he has the finishing, he has the dribbling, but it's just like he needs the right group behind him to push him forward to do what he needs to do.
and maybe it's just an age and a mentality thing too. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Mbappe is comfortably a top 5 player in the world right now. But I just don't. They don't make them like Messi and Ronaldo anymore, man. They just don't. They just don't. When Messi and Ronaldo were those guys' ages, they were winning games on their own. I don't know, man. I get it. I think he's a great player, but I just don't think he's got that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's there quite yet.
That's fair. I don't know. PSG just seems. I think to like compare it to another sport, they're almost like the Lakers, in a way. Like they have LeBron James, they bring in Anthony Davis and win a title, and then they bring in Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, and it's like, oh, you have this stacked lineup of superstars. Like, how are they not good together? And sometimes that's just the way it plays out. I think it has a lot to do with the dressing room, honestly, and like the egos in it. I can't imagine that it's a very good environment. And I think you have to have a special environment to win a big trophy like the Champions League. I think that's probably, what it comes down to. It's hard to make an impact as a manager, and Poch knows that probably quite well by now. It's hard to make an impact when you have that many superstars, not like just big egos, like superstars, on the celebrity world.
There's too many people that are able to go out and win you that game on that side. It's taking away from that like little smaller piece that could fit in, to take away from 3 people moving forward that all want to win the game, that aren't gonna necessarily get it done together.
Yeah, they almost need like a Bobby Firmino type, like a link up guy that's like not looking to fucking score every 5 seconds or like make a fancy dribble move.
Yeah, it's just like take somebody to slot it out and just take a little bit of that extra pressure away from all of them pushing forward looking for the goal as if they are getting it on their foot. I don't know. And maybe that's just the wrong mentality. Like, the way I'm saying it sounds weird, but I know it makes sense in my head. Because, like, you obviously want people out there that are looking to win the game at all times and finish a goal if a ball lands on their foot. But Messi was trademarked running coast to coast and just finishing a game by himself. Neymar wants to have the ball on his foot, and Mbappe wants to run.
They just need something, and I don't know if they'll get it anytime soon. We'll see. In other news, and more important news, honestly, if you really think about it, more important news. How's the weather in Florence, Mitchell?
It's okay. It's okay. Fiorentina right now sitting in 8th with a game in hand, 4 points back of Roma in 6th. Drop points this past week, had a 1-1 draw, but like I feel like a broken record because we're in this point of the season where like the weather is kind of the same every day. It's like pretty cloudy, but then the sun starts poking through, you know what I mean? Like that's that typical springtime feel. Like you're going to have that overcast, but you're going to have those moments through the day with the sun poking through. And it's just really gearing up to be a good one this weekend for the Violas. Going up against Bologna, who they've had their number over the last 5-6 years. They have been unbeaten against them. 9 wins, 6 draws in their last 15, and it's just a good matchup for the Violas. They are at the Frankie, so they will be at home, and I think they're just going to be looking to find that form again after a couple of tough games in the Coppa Italia, and then dropping that 1-1 game. last week. So I do see them bouncing back big this weekend with a 3-1 win.
It's always good to
hear. We'll see. That was your Fiorentina forecast. Just weathermen are normally wrong. Just remember that, everybody. Weathermen are normally wrong.
This is true.
All right, Josh. Where should they put their money this weekend? How about that?
Yeah, I think we went 500 last weekend. It wasn't a great week. Wasn't a bad one. Kind of hit right down the middle. We had some pretty big games. I think it'll be a fun weekend in the Premier League. It's the first weekend in a while. I just don't have anything to do. So I am sitting on my recliner back there at 6:30 on Saturday morning watching Liverpool, and I'm going to watch soccer all damn day. I'm going to be happy about it.
Attaboy.
Liverpool-Brighton kicks off. That's the first game. It's a tough one. Liverpool dropped points to Brighton in the reverse fixture this year. But Liverpool's on a really good run of form. Obviously, they'll want to bounce back a little bit from that sort of loss. I'm not even counting that as a loss because aggregate games are weird. It'll be interesting. I kind of mentioned here in the notes that Cucurella had Salah a little bit in his pocket in that first match, so I'm interested to see if Salah has any tricks up his sleeve for this one.
He definitely does. He's Mo Salah.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I do think there's some injury problems for Liverpool. I'm not sure if Thiago. I heard something about Van Dijk also not being in training, so we'll see about that. That might have just been not really pictured in photos or anything like that, but we'll see come game time. I definitely think Jurgen can rotate a little bit in this match. We'll see what that brings exactly. But my two picks for this one are Salah to score -110. It's been a couple games for him where he hasn't, so I'm expecting one. But I do have the under 2.5 at +130 as well. Brighton are a good defensive side when they want to be. And yeah, I don't see Liverpool, beating the brakes off them in any way. Liverpool really hasn't been scoring a ton either. So I see this one as a 1-0, 2-0 win.
Yeah, I don't see it being a bloodbath, but I would love it to be. But I do think we see a rotated side. I see like Ox getting in the starting lineup in this one. Maybe Tsimikas, Konate, and Joe, if they're all healthy. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of pressure right now. I think this is a time where it's the start of focus time. This is where we establish it. We run our game. We don't overdo it. We just kind of play how we want to play and build up to the fixtures that we need. Because we're getting into crunch time now. We're 4 or 6 weeks out from being done with the season. So.
Yep.
That is why I disagree with you. I think there is pressure on Liverpool every single game for the remainder of the season.
There's pressure on both of us, to be fair.
Exactly. I don't think saying that there is no pressure is very accurate.
I think what I mean by that is just that mental buildup, and it's beginning now. I think it's already there, but I think the game against Inter, the current run of form we've been in, we've been picking up some knocks after being very healthy and very excited. I think this is where I think it's that tune-up game where, okay, let's get the engine running properly before we go down the home stretch.
Yeah. Or you draw 0-0 with Brighton at home and the wheels fall off. I don't think that's going to happen.
So
but
Pat's calling bogey
funny.
game. This is Pat's version of saying bogey game.
No, I think you guys are going to beat Brighton pretty handily. I think 2-3 goals, but I just think it'd be fucking funny.
Brighton haven't been – I've bet on Brighton a few times kind of here throughout the season. They haven't been great kind of in the middle stretch. They started off the season pretty good, but I still think you have to value the tactics Graham Potter will put into this game. He's a really smart manager, and he usually has a pretty good game plan when he goes up against Klopp. So we'll see what happens. Next one, the big one on Saturday is Man United versus Tottenham.
This is the opposite spectrum of good game plans. Continue.
Exactly. It's going to be a very good game, I think. It's going to be entertaining for neutral fans, more importantly. because I just think it's going to be a shambles. Ultimately, I think Tottenham's attack is too good for Man United's defense. I think that's where these two teams are separated. Kane, Son, and the new guy Tottenham has, I can't even...
Kulevsky?
Yeah, can't even start with his name.
Yeah, Kulevsky, Kulevsky. You got a K, an L, and a U.
Yeah, Man United ain't stopping.
He's Swedish.
That's the one thing I know. Tottenham are somehow the underdogs in this game. Moneyline odds of plus 245. That might be my pick.
You hammer that.
Yeah,
I think you hammer that. Yeah, you hammer that.
You are welcome for that pick. It'll probably make you rich. Hammer it, like Pat said. Bet responsibly, but hammer it. 'Cause Man United ain't winning shit.
Hammer it within your financial means.
And remember, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, 1-800-GAMBLER if you have an issue.
411.
The next game, Chelsea versus Newcastle. This one is pretty fun. Just with everything, obviously, what's going on at Chelsea isn't fun, but it's a fun one in terms of there's drama at Chelsea. Newcastle are just like on smoke in terms of form, unbeaten in their last 8. I watched them play Southampton this afternoon. They looked fantastic for most of the game. What do you guys think about this one?
I'm still laughing about the betting thing at the end of that last pick. Sorry. I don't know, man. I think Chelsea at home are still Chelsea at home. I just feel so weird about taking Newcastle here, even if they are in good form. Like, Chelsea are still a really good side, man, and it's not like they've been like dipping very much recently. Like, they still look like a pretty solid side. I don't know. I think this is going to be the game where Newcastle's winning run comes to an end, or unbeaten run, I should say, comes to an end.
I see draw written all over this.
That's a good shout.
I think Newcastle are going to play right into how Chelsea defend. I think it's going to be low scoring draw, maybe 1-1, 2-2 if it gets sloppy, but I don't see Mendy really letting up very many, if at all, and Newcastle are going to have that ability to get one, but they're going to let one up on the counter attack for sure with the pressure that Chelsea can apply.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Newcastle's midfield could probably use a little bit of work here, but
that's what the summer score.
Yeah, the pick here is Newcastle plus 1.5. That's minus 115. So Newcastle just can't lose by 2 or more. Chelsea could still win by 1. This bet still hits. So that's the pick there. West Ham Villa next, another really fun one. I think Villa have started to pick back up form from that little kind of blip. Obviously, Gerrard kind of started on fire, and then Villa went through a little hard stretch of 3 or 4 games. They smoked Leeds tonight 3-0. Speaking of Leeds, we're not going to talk about them, but Jesse Marsch might get fired there quicker than he did at Leipzig. Not saying anything about that, but Coutinho has just been fantastic at Villa. 4 goals and 3 assists in like 7 games. In the clear.
Yeah, he's been real good. Yeah, I love your pick for this. By the way, both teams to score and the Villa do not bet. I like the picks a lot for this game.
Yep,
I have nothing to add. Yeah, nails it on the head there.
Wait, draw, no bet, not do not bet. I'm still learning my
Villa. Do not bet on them. I love it. Do not bet on Villa.
Don't bet on Villa. It's plus 135.
We're betting
the Villa
learning
draw,
podcast
no bet.
too.
Yeah, Pat's in elementary school of betting.
The other big one to this is that West Ham are coming back from a midweek game in Seville in the Europa League, so I think they're going to have a little bit of tired legs because, West Ham in the Europa League, they're going hard for that one. Definitely a big chance for them to win a trophy, so I think they're going to be pretty tuckered out from that one. I think Villa will have I guess Villa played too, but I think Villa could probably rotate a little bit more. Next one, Arsenal-Leicester. This one's kind of tough to call. On paper, Arsenal are obviously the better team as of late. Leicester have had just a shambles of a run. On paper, these sides are pretty even in terms of talent. I just think Arsenal, they are starting to build a little bit of an identity. And as this top 4 race kind of does start to take more of a shape coming into the run-in, I think Arsenal are going to win these bigger matches, and I think that will
Absolutely
culminate in a Champions League berth for them. So I am taking.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm taking an Arsenal parlay here for them to win and over 1.5 goals in the game. So there just has to be 2 goals overall and an Arsenal win, and that's minus 140. A little bit of a juicy bet, but
in Pat's words, what's the Saka do not bet?
Saka to score, draw no bet. Yeah.
I think we see Saka to score in this one. I think Arsenal have been coming into their own over the last few weeks, and in order to capture that 4th place spot, Arteta we know wants it at this point. So I think they're going to do everything they can to lock it up.
It's the perfect storm for Mikel Arteta's tricky Gunners to take points off of Liverpool to secure City the title.
My God. I'm so fine with Arsenal making Champions League. I'm actually kind of rooting for it because it's just one more team in the Champions League that won't go anywhere. And that I would be fine facing in later rounds if that happens. So I'm fine with Arsenal. Get top 4. Go out and do it.
I think they're going to.
Add the extra competition. Be our guest. It'll be good for them financially too, but I just think they're in over.
Yeah, for the LA Rams.
Yeah.
Cronky Nation, baby.
And,
over to Pat's boys.
If Crystal Palace do the double over us, I'm not going to be on the episode next week. I'm using PTO if we fucking lose.
At Selhurst, I believe.
You're right, because they beat us at the fucking Etihad.
Selhurst is tough, man. They got a good.
If Palace do the double over us, I will not be on the episode next week. You heard it here first.
Will you at least give us an official statement, like a written statement that we can read?
Yeah, absolutely.
If and when this happens.
Yeah,
we'll write something down and be able to read it in your absence.
Yep, because I'll be pretty bummed.
I need Wilf Zaha to come through for me in this one.
I mean, I think we should win. We've been better away from home than we have at home, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think this will be a blowout, honestly. I think Palace will give you a run. I think Palace will score a goal as well. I have Palace, again, plus 1.5, so not necessarily a Palace win. I expect it to be close. That's minus 105, so, the books at least are saying that's not that surprising of a result. And I throw in a fun one here. Obviously, bet responsibly, but over 10.5 corners just for the hell of it.
That'll happen because we're going to shell them. They're going to defend deep.
Yep.
I like that. I think that's 11 corners. Fuck yeah.
Also the same line, so it's.
Yeah, and I like Goyata too in net or Guaita or however you say it.
Guaita, yeah.
So if he parries a lot of shots, that's what I'm thinking. Corners galore.
Hey, and I mean, Josh didn't get shelled for that, but I learned how to say Shalanoglu.
I was saying Cal Hungulu like 2 weeks ago, so
You guys, I fucking hate you both.
I thought Cal Hungulu was the right, because I remember this coming up like at the beginning of the season when he got sold, and I thought I had it down with Cal Hungulu, and the guy on TV was saying it the other day, and I was like, that's like Spanish to me.
That's definitely wrong.
I've been saying his name really wrong. All right, you guys got anything else for this week's episode?
Just enjoy what we have. It's fun right now. We're having a lot of good football matches being played all over the world.
Yeah. Chelsea fans, I'm sorry if I was mean to you. You'll be fine. I don't.
No, say it with your chest, bro.
You'll be fine.
Double back
I
at
do
the end
believe
of the
they will
episode.
be
Say
fine.
it with your chest.
They'll be fine. I think it's fine to take the piss out of rival clubs. But we move on. I think it's going to be a really good weekend of footy, guys. I think it's going to be one we'll enjoy and have plenty to talk about next week as well with the wrap-up of the round of 16 in the Champions League.
Yeah, and we're 6 days away from Concacaf Champions League second legs being played too. So we have
Revs.
Go Revs. It's awesome seeing the MLS represent this late in the tournament. We're gonna find out our semifinals very shortly, and go Revs.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, sir. Deuces.
Episode 30. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.